How is it going, everyone? We've got some updates and very exciting notes on Crimson Desert to go over. One of these elements we should not really be celebrating, but you know what? In the state of gaming today, it's a huge W, and we will celebrate it. So we'll talk about that. And there's been some discussion about the difficulty of the game and how the difficulty is going to be structured. We have some more insight on that from the Dropped Frames podcast. Will Powers did yet another lengthy interview. That interview was, I want to say, an hour and a half long. So shout out to the PR department, Will Powers, and how this game has been handled from a marketing standpoint, because I think it's been tremendous. And I've already glazed that aspect of this game quite a lot, but a lot of games I think can learn about what Crimson Desert has done. Obviously, you need a foundationally compelling game, first of all. That might be the most difficult aspect to have for a lot of games, but you need a foundationally compelling game. But beyond that, look at how much the excitement for this game has increased over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Why is game promotion done? For this exact reason, and I think it's just been executed so well. Before we get into this video, if you are looking to pick up Crimson Desert on PC and you have yet to, you're looking for a Steam code, check out our friends over at Green Man Gaming. They've got the game 15% off if you use the code FEB15, that's FEB15. Use the promo code at checkout. You'll save 15%. You'll get the game for $59 and change. You'll get a Steam code and you'll be good to go. You won't pay tax either. On top of that, if you do want to pick up the deluxe edition, you can use the same code and you'll get the discount as well. Link in the description box below. If you pick it up, we do get an affiliate kickback, which is much appreciated. First of all, quite possibly the most exciting note to a lot of you guys, it was confirmed that Crimson Desert will not have any sort of microtransaction shop, and that was noted by Will Powers again at the Drop Frames podcast. This is made to be a premium experience that you buy and you enjoy the world and not something for microtransactions. I think this is something that is really good to clarify right out the gate, especially because, you know, Pearl Abyss, the other game that they're known for, is Black Desert, and Black Desert is a completely different business model than what Crimson Desert was. Crimson Desert was initially going to be an MMO when it initially started development. However, it did spin into this premium open world RPG, and generally speaking, most people would want premium open world RPGs to be devoid of microtransactions. I think a game that a lot of people look at that has a lot of microtransactions, and it's just the Ubisoft open world games. Let's be honest, you want to stay away from that, and there are other games for sure, but I think Crimson Desert and Pearl Abyss are still in this process of building that goodwill. I often talk about that unquantifiable metric that is so important to a lot of publishers, and a lot of publishers take it for granted. With Crimson Desert, for a lot of people, it is going to be their first Pearl Abyss title. It's not like all of these people played Black Desert Online. All of the people that are excited for Crimson Desert have been lifelong BDO players. That's not the case whatsoever. For a lot of people, this is going to be their first exposure to Pearl Abyss, and Crimson Desert has the potential to cultivate a new audience for Pearl Abyss in the fan base that plays single-player open-world action RPGs. That's the audience that you want, and you're kind of starting from zero in the sense of that relationship with the consumer. That's why the release of this game is going to be so consequential, because it's not just a new game from Pearl Abyss. No, this is a game that's going to cater to a totally different audience than what Black Desert Online catered towards. Sure, there might be a little bit of crossover, but there's going to be a lot of new people coming in, and it's an opportunity, and I think they should view it as such, an opportunity to capture the interest of a lot of new people into what Pearl Abyss is doing. Am I saying that these people are gonna then go play BDO? No, I'm not saying that, but if you do something in the future, if you do a Crimson Desert 2, if you do a sequel, you can build upon having that goodwill, and hopefully you don't take that goodwill for granted. That's what happens a lot of times. Publishers build this goodwill, then they take the goodwill for granted, and then they implement the microtransactions and all that nonsense. But one step at a time. Crimson Desert will be out March 19th, and as far as the initial release goes, there will be no microtransactions. It'll be a premium experience that you're gonna play. Alright, moving on from that, a lot of discussion about the difficulty in Crimson Desert. We talked about the fact that the accessibility options tag on the PlayStation Store had removed the difficulty options tab, and that got a lot of people thinking, hey, is this game not going to have difficulty options? when you look at this game, it's certainly not of the presentation style of a Souls-like game that generally wouldn't have difficulty options, although some of those are. This is an open-world action RPG, and a lot of these games have difficulty options. A lot of them, the open-world RPGs. The Ubisoft games that I just mentioned usually have a difficulty option, and so many more of those titles, open-world RPGs, usually have some sort of difficulty slider. However, Crimson Desert looks to not have a difficulty option, and then on top of that, Powers noted that while Crimson Desert is not a Souls-like, does that mean the game is easy? Hell no, and he gave us a little bit of insight into the game, where there are going to be some bosses on the critical path you'll need to beat in order to progress the main narrative. Powers explains you can't just leave, you can do something else, you can upgrade your weapon, you can do side questing, you can find different things in order to make that fight easier for you. So in theory, you should never be stuck being forced to attempt the same thing over and over again if you don't want to. You could do other things in this world. This world is so vast, there is so much stuff to do, that you can figure out other things to do that will ultimately parlay into making that boss fight easier. Sounds a bit like Elden Ring. Elden Ring, if you played that game, at any point, if you really got stuck at a boss fight, you could do other things to make that boss battle easier. You could go farm, you could try to find this item, that item. A lot of the times with Elden Ring, it did come down to looking up guides and figuring out how that game was structured. That's one thing about the left to your own devices kind of open world. Look, I get it, some people just want to get completely lost and immersed into an open world. I thought Elden Ring was a little bit of a step too far, where it's like, dude, there are so many things that if you just try to play the game without a guide, you are absolutely gonna miss. Like, there's no way you're gonna find a lot of the stuff in that game unless you are so hyper-focused and paying attention. That's just my 2 cents, and I would like a little bit more guidance. I know everybody these days, oh my god, you want the yellow paint? You want this or that? I don't even think yellow paint is the sin to mankind that some people make it out to be. People have a finite amount of time, and Crimson Desert is going to be a vast experience. I hope there is a level of, okay, you can do other things, and there will be a little bit of a guidance to do these other things. Now, he also continued noting that's something that I think is really interesting, because when people see the boss fights in this game, they immediately think Souls-like. This is not a Souls-like game, because Souls-like, again, has connotations and has specific definitions of narrow dodge windows, things like that. This is much more combo-driven, and you can kind of dictate the pace of the fight, so there's no get-good moment. And if you've seen the combat in sequence, a lot of the gameplay is combat focused, going from this move to that move and figuring out how to parlay all of these things together to create a sequence that's gonna be effective in battle. And I think utilizing that in boss fights is going to be something that adds a little bit of a skill layer to the game. While there are definitely skill checks, he clarifies, if you struggle with any of them, you can get additional buffs from food and camp. You can grind a bunch more consumables to make the fight easier for you. You can find a blueprint for an item that lets you revive in a fight to get an extra second shot, and you can craft multiple of those so you can over-prepare and make any fight accessible to you. Does that mean the game's easy? Hell no, but I think that it allows a layer of accessibility so you're never hard stuck, which I think is really, really important in the single player game. So while the game may not have inherent easy, normal, hard difficulty sliders, it does seem like there's this level of accessibility that's baked into the actual design of the game. Similar to Elden Ring. You do certain things in Elden Ring, and let's say you're streaming the game, you're gonna get clowned for that. You're going to get roasted for that. Do I personally care? No. If I have a difficult time with the game, I'm not going to beat my head over the wall. I'll take the L, you guys. I will take the L. You guys can call me bad at video games. My boys can roast me. Whoa there, dude. You're better at me than a video game. I hope that makes you sleep better at night. But, you know, if I need to get this item that makes me revive mid-fight, and you know what, if I need to get multiple of those items because a boss fight is very difficult, I will do that. Other people will be able to play the game and they'll be like, no, I don't want to take the revives into a fight, and they want to one life boss fights. And again, with an open world game like this, I think a beauty of that is leaving it to player choice. They've said as much as far as giving players so much choice in how they handle the game in terms of how they interact with the game, and even going as far as not to calling it an RPG because the story is set in place, but how you interact with the world and what you do, the skills you upgrade, etc., and how you play the game, that is going to differ from player to player. And potentially one of the reasons why they aren't giving a direct hours of gameplay of this game, because people are going to interact with this game so differently. I think that is a beauty of open vast open world games like this where you can do a lot of different things. And for those of you that are gonna be like me and you don't want something super difficult, you are gonna have the option to over prepare, so to speak, and there are literally items that are gonna let you revive in a fight to get an extra second shot, and you can craft multiple of those. So if that's in the game, I imagine some of the buffs you're gonna get as well, that's gonna be able to be strategically utilized to make boss fights easier. So while there's not seemingly a difficulty slider in the typical sense of easy, normal, hard, it seems to be something that's baked into accessibility options in the game, where if you do grind for this item or you get this buff or you do this and that is gonna make the game ultimately a little bit easier. But that's gonna do it for me. We are just a couple weeks away from the release of Crimson Desert on March the 19th. Let me know your anticipation level for the game and sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.